What's up, guys? Teddy Striker here, and in this video, I want to talk about what stood out to me from UFC 294 and who I personally think stole the show. Some people might disagree with that, but in my opinion, I'm gonna tell you guys why I believe this. But I think Kamaru Usman stole the show at UFC 294. I know he didn't win his fight against Khamzat, but in rewatching it and watching live, I feel like that fight was a draw. The more and more I think about it. It's very weird to see people just kind of say, oh, Chimaev clearly won. Like, that was no debate or anything. A lot of people are actually saying it's a draw as well. But the fact that it's even being debated, it's just very, very interesting to me. Because if you look at a fight on that same card, it was Shara Putin Magomedov's fight. That dude with one eye from Dagestan. He got taken down in round 3, and arguably he lost that round. But Bruno Silva didn't really do much with the takedown, and he had much more control time than Khamzat did in round 3. But the judges gave Sharabutin that round. All 3 judges gave him that round, which is very interesting. And even in round 2, when Sharabutin was winning the round, he got taken down, not for as long as he got taken down in round 3. And the judges gave him that round as well. Bruno Silva didn't do anything with the takedown as well, but they still gave him the round. But then you look at the fight with Usman and Chimaev. Chimaev gets one takedown in round 2 at the very end, and one judge gives it to Khamzat. And then another judge gives round 3 to Khamzat. The judges weren't even agreeing. One judge had it 28-28, gave it 10-8 to Chimaev in round 1. All 3 judges did that, but then that judge gave round 2 and 3 to Kamaru Usman. The other 2 judges, they couldn't agree. They were split. One judge had round 2 to Chimaev, and one judge had round 3 to Chimaev. They couldn't agree, but in my opinion, I think that Kamaru Usman landed the bigger shots, landed the cleaner shots. And I know the Weasel did his video of who really won, but I don't really look at that as a reference and as the final verdict. I think that was kind of a bias and, very, very biased. So I'll just leave it at that video. But regardless, I still had Kamaru Usman edging out the second and third rounds. And to be honest, it's still a bit weird, the definition of what a 10-8 round is. But I guess, I'm not going to argue for that too much. But either way, I think they should have been a draw. And when I look at guys Adesanya reacting to that, or Ngannou, they're it's they know Usman's gonna lose, but I'm that's very interesting to see that, because one takedown doesn't just seal you the round. If you don't do anything with it, and they're kind of he lost, already thinking that. Even John Anik said that at the end of round 3, he's Khamzat is most likely still gonna be undefeated, but it was a much closer fight than anticipated. But now to get to the point of the video, Usman stole the show because he came in on 10 days' notice. Everyone was writing him off. Everyone was saying that he was going to get flatlined in the first round. I originally thought that, but then I said he was going to lose the decision. But he came in there and had a draw with Khamzat on 10 days' notice. And that's just a crazy performance given who you're going up against. Even though now in hindsight it's oh, wait a second, this is Kamaru Usman we're talking about. He is a great fighter, but then you look at another great fighter like Volkanovski, and I don't really mean to, use Volkanovski as an example, but you look at him and of course the opponents are completely different, but if you just remove the opponents and just think about the performance, I think Islam was expected to beat Volk. Maybe not like that, but he was expected to win. So it's not as surprising. And he's a top he's a number 1 pound for pound fighter. Volkanovski was supposed to lose to Islam Makhachev. Khamzat was supposed to flatline Kamaru Usman in the first round. He didn't do that. Kamaru Usman was supposed to lose to Khamzat in the first round. That didn't happen. That's why, in my opinion, he should be giving his respect, his credit. Of course, Makhachev, No one thought that the grappler would, knock out the striker. And I'm gonna make a video talking about why Volkanovski lost the way he did and where he went wrong. But yeah, either way, that. If anything to take away from Usman's performance is to always stay ready. Truly stay ready. He was training at Killcliff FC, I think it's called. He was training there. Gilbert Burns was seeing him a few times, putting in that work, really staying in fight shape. Volkanovski, again, I don't mean to pick on him, but he weighed about 181 pounds. It seemed like he was recovering from an injury, and he said he had a baby around that time frame. So he took that fight when he probably shouldn't have. So I guess another moral of the story is be honest with yourself. Are you really ready to take this fight? And maybe Kamaru shouldn't have taken that fight against Hamza, because although you can really win on short notice, and Usman proved that, you can also just come up just a little bit short, and you can make a mistake, asking for 3 rounds instead of 5. And Kamaru even said he regrets not making it a 5-round fight, because of course there's some mental factors in there too. Kamaru could have gone 5 rounds, but mentally he was hold on a second, yes, I'm staying ready. Yes, I think I'm in decent shape, but I don't know if I'm ready to go 5 rounds, because he knows what he has to put his body through to get to those 5-round fights. He's been doing for the past 5 years before this fight. But yeah, that was a great showing for Kamaru, and to be honest, he's not done. He's actually still, really, he can compete with the best of them. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. But if you look at it, the first fight he lost on this losing streak was against Leon Edwards, a fight he was winning until he got caught. Then the rematch versus Leon Edwards, you could probably, actually, it'd be kind of reaching to say it could be a draw. Some of those rounds are really close though. But, you kind of got to give it to Leon Edwards, although it was really, really close. And that fight could have arguably been a draw as well. And then you have this other Kamzat, which flat out is a draw. There's no debate. If anything, you could potentially argue if round 1 is a 10-8 or not, but you got to give it to Kamzat, so it's a draw. There's no shame in that. But I think Kamaru should probably, he should probably come back down to 170, because Kamzat is not a big middleweight. He's still relatively the same size. And yeah, it just seems like there's a bit of a strength difference from Chimaev to Usman. So I would like to see Kamaru come back to 170 pounds. And I think he should fight Bilal Muhammad next. Now, maybe they could set it up for December, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Kamaru should come back to 170 pounds, and he's definitely not.